A greedy man wanted 1 million views, so he sent a team into an old haunted asylum. At first, it seemed like just another spooky video, but once they went inside, strange things started happening. This wasn't just for fun anymore. Something was waiting for them, and it didn't want them to leave. A group of friends arrive at Gonjiam Haunted Asylum to shoot videos and explore. They want to go into room number 402 because according to the stories, it's haunted and cursed. One of the guys starts trying to break the door of room 402 with a hammer, but the door doesn't budge. And then suddenly, a terrifying sound is heard, and a spirit is captured on camera. Whereas on the other side of the world, there is a live broadcast show called Horror Times, owned by Ha-jun. He was broadcasting about the same Gonjiam Asylum. This asylum was known for a spirit who loved playing with a ping-pong ball. It used to be a functioning asylum, but one day, the director of the asylum killed all the patients and then mysteriously disappeared, after which the entire asylum became cursed. But among all areas, room 402, the intensive care unit, is considered the most haunted. After the broadcast, Ha-jun gets an idea. He decides to take a team to Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. It will boost the views on his show and give him millions of dollars. So, without any delay, he puts together a 6-member team. After a few days, all the team members, Ji-hyun, Charlotte, Ah-yeon, Park Sung-hoon, Jae-yoon, and Seung-wook, meet at a local restaurant to discuss their plan. These people were meeting for the first time, gathered by Ha-jun for the live stream. According to the plan, everyone would go inside the asylum except Ha-jun, who would stay outside to monitor everything. Ha-jun explains the entire plan to the group, and then they all go out for drinks and fun. One of the members, Charlotte, travels the world to vlog haunted places, and soon, everyone starts discussing the asylum. Money is also on their minds, because through the live stream, they could make up to 100 million. This much is tempting for everyone to move ahead with the plan without any second thoughts. The next day, the team heads toward Gonjiam Asylum. On the way, their conversations reveal that some of the people had gone mad or died attempting to open room 402. Ha-jun wanted to solve the mystery of that room through his channel and wanted the climax of the show to be the opening of that room. And now, before reaching the asylum, they all set up their cameras and have some fun. By evening, they reached near Gonjiam Asylum. They carried their gear and recorded many scenes with a drone. They soon reach their base camp site and begin setting up camp. By nightfall, their base camp is ready. 2 of the members, Seung-wook and Park Sung-hoon, go inside the asylum early to set up the cameras and luckily return without any trouble. After dinner, everyone straps on their GoPro cameras and the live stream begins. The cameras were set up in such a manner that it can record the person's face, as well as their point of view. Ha-jun stays outside near the asylum to manage the stream. On the way, Ji-yoon finds a pair of women's underwear and ties it to a tree to remember the way back. The stream already has over 10,000 viewers. Soon, everyone enters the asylum and begins their terrifying investigation. Seung-wook gives an introduction to the audience, and the group moves forward. It was 4 past midnight. The inside of the asylum is horrifying beyond imagination. As they walk down the 2nd floor corridor, they enter a room where Charlotte places a bowl of holy water on a table. The idea is to see if any spirits are nearby. As Seung-wook was giving this information to the audience, when they go to check, they find that the gate had closed on its own, and behind it was the director's room. They entered the room, and obviously it was empty, but inside they found some old photographs. It was of the director who is rumored to kill all her patients, with her patients in the photograph. The director's name was Chun-hee, and she looked creepy. While they're talking about Chun-hee, a tile falls from the ceiling, and from inside it, some strange hair comes falling out. They continue moving forward, recording everything. The plan now is that Seung-wook and Park Sung-hoon will prepare for a ceremony because they want to summon the spirits, while the others will continue with the investigation. On the other side, Ha-jun is watching the scene where the gate shut, reviewing it slowly in slow motion. and it genuinely looks very creepy. Meanwhile, Charlotte and Ji-hyun are investigating the first floor. They discovered a laboratory on that floor. They step inside and find medical records scattered around. Tables are overturned, and there are even signs of a fire. But the strangest thing, there is a doll. Before Ji-hyun can focus on the doll, Charlotte accidentally drops something weird, and both of them quickly leave the room. Whereas on the third floor, Ja-yoon is investigating with Ah-yoon. They notice that the temperature everywhere is just 13 degrees, same as it was on second floor, but still the third floor feels more chilly. Suddenly, Ah-yoon spots the famous tennis table of the hospital, where games of ping pong were once played. Next, they go into the bathroom, which had the highest number of ghost sightings reported. On one of the walls, there's a dark stain that resembles a human figure. At one point in the bathtub, Ja-yoon sees something strange, a human-like head, and he screams. But it turns out to be just a clump of hair. Ah-yoon then teases Ja-yoon using that hair to scare him. Back to Charlotte and Ji-hyun, who have reached the fourth floor. They're now standing in front of the infamous room 402, determined to capture the ghosts on camera. Till date, no one has ever opened the door to room 402, but Ji-hyun is set on opening it tonight. Their live stream now has over 55,000 viewers watching. However, Charlotte and Ji-hyun have to return to the second floor because Seung-wook and Park Sung-hoon's ceremony is about to begin. The two boys have tied bells all over the roof, so they'll ring if any spirits arrive. A mantra circle is drawn on the floor, and Ji-hyun begins the ritual by lighting incense and a candle. Ah-yoon, the youngest member of the group, has to perform the ritual. Chants are recited as they wait for the spirits to arrive. Suddenly, the candles blow out, and all the bells on the ceiling start ringing wildly. Some of the bells even fall down on their own. Ha-joon, outside, has to stay back and explain everything to the audience, but then he sends Seung-wook and Park Sung-hoon back into the room to continue the ritual. There, Ha-joon tells them that their video has now crossed 1 million views, which means money is about to rain down. But just after that, the gas stoves behind Ha-joon turn on by themselves. He panics. Then the computers start glitching, and the lights go out. For a few moments, everything is chaotic, but then everything returns to normal. Anyway, now the group returns to the laboratory on the first floor of the asylum. But this time, that creepy doll had moved. It was no longer inside the cabinet, but in a different place. Ji-hyun and Charlotte get scared, and Seung-wook picks up the doll, which terrifies Charlotte. She begs him to put it back, but no one listens. Seung-wook believes that Charlotte's scared reactions are getting them more views, so he continues to hold on to the doll. The doll actually belonged to a mentally unstable patient. Charlotte, shaken, runs out of the lab, and Ji-hyun follows her. According to Charlotte, touching the doll was the biggest mistake. Meanwhile, Seung-wook keeps explaining everything to the live audience. After all, they were also here to make money. Eventually, everyone convinces Charlotte to continue, and Ha-joon says that from now on, they'll do exactly what Charlotte says. They all somehow persuade her to stay compelling that if they went back now, then all their efforts will go to waste. So, the investigation continues. They head into the group clinic area, where several lockers are located. These lockers were used to confine uncontrollable patients. Park Sang-hoon puts his hand inside one of the lockers and suddenly, Charlotte is scared and urges everyone that this place is really cursed and they should leave. To prove his point, Park tries to put his hand back in, but the group stops him, worried that there might actually be something dangerous inside. But just then, Ji-hyun puts her hand inside another locker. This gives the group their first solid proof of a ghost. Suddenly, terrified, the group runs away. Ja-yoon and Ah-yoon are separated from the rest of the group and they suddenly begin to hear table tennis sounds. Meanwhile, Charlotte and Ji-hyun are too scared to continue. The boys try to comfort them, but the girls decide to quit and head for the exit. Charlotte and Ji-hyun leave. Seung-wook and Park Sang-hoon talk to Ha-joon and try to explain everything to him. They even pointed out that the letters on the wall said, "Let's live," when they entered the building, but now they say, "Let's die." But here's the thing, Ha-joon knows that Aylmer is dangerous, possibly deadly. Still, the video has now reached 300,000 live viewers, so he decides to ignore everything and play dumb. Ha-jun tells the two boys that there are no ghosts, and all that they are saying is in their mind. He insists they continue working. He says they should open room 402 and finish the video. But the two boys were already terrified and no longer listened to Ha-jun. After everything that had happened, Ha-jun checks a strange footage at the base camp that was recorded in the very beginning. And friends, all 6 people were visible in that footage, meaning someone else, possibly a spirit, was recording them. As soon as Ha-jun notices this, a cup falls and the lights go out. Ha-jun gets very scared. Suddenly, the glitching computers start working again. Seong-wook and Park Sang-hoon then talk to Ha-jun again, demanding more money to continue shooting because even they were possessed by the spirit of greed. They wanted theirs as well as others' profit share to be increased by 20%. And since the video had now reached 700,000 views, Ha-jun agreed, and they resumed the investigation. Charlotte and Ji-hyun, who were walking through the forest and had reached the spot where the underwear was tied. Meanwhile, Seong-wook and Park Sang-hoon reach the 4th floor bathroom to investigate. Suddenly, a loud bang is heard. They follow the sound into the instrument chamber, where a wheelchair starts moving on its own. Continuing with the shoot meant inviting danger. Terrified, Seong-wook tries to explain everything to the audience. But then, it comes from behind a door. In the blink of an eye, all the furniture in the room sticks to the ceiling. The two boys are completely shocked. Suddenly, paranormal activities begin. Items start flying around the room. One flying object hits Park Sang-hoon on the head, knocking him unconscious. Seong-wook, now badly shaken, tries to wake him, but the door behind them opens. The entity attacks Seong-wook and knocks him out too. Seeing all this, Ha-jun is completely shocked, but still does nothing as the video has crossed 800,000 views. Meanwhile, Charlotte and Ji-hyun, who had somehow ended up back at the underwear spot. Both were scared, and suddenly Charlotte starts seeing the lab equipment appear around her, terrifying her. At that moment, Ji-hyun goes completely silent. When Charlotte approaches her, she finds that Ji-hyun is possessed and muttering demonic phrases. Terrified, Charlotte tries to run away, but an energy force grabs her hair and lifts her into the air. When she falls to the ground, she runs with all her strength and somehow reaches the base camp, but it's completely dark inside. Charlotte turns on her flashlight and realizes she's not at the base camp, but on the haunted Goji Island. In the corner stands possessed Ji-hyun, and at Charlotte's feet lies the demonic doll. Back to Park Sang-hoon, who had just regained consciousness. Meanwhile, on the 4th floor, Ah-yeon and Jae-yeon were still clueless about everything and were trying to open room 402. Just then, Park Sang-hoon reaches them and urgently tells them to run. But at that moment, Ha-jun calls Ah-yeon, telling him to open room 402 because the video was about to hit 1 million views. Park Sang-hoon warns them not to do it and says that Seong-wook might already be dead, and they all need to escape as soon as possible. But Ha-jun, frustrated that no one is listening to him, grabs a camera himself and heads toward the asylum. Park Sang-hoon's words had now frightened Ah-yeon and Jae-yeon too. Suddenly, they all start hearing ping-pong ball sounds and a ball flies toward them. The door to room 402 begins to open on its own. And friends, from inside that room, they hear Charlotte's screams, meaning Charlotte had reached room 402. They rush to open the door, but her screams suddenly stop. Flashes start flickering all around them, and something starts moving toward them. Then, the door to room 402 flies open, and the camera falls and breaks. Hand in hand, Ah-yeon, Park Sang-hoon, and Jae-yeon step into room 402. The floor inside is filled with water, and there are no other doors. On the ceiling, there's a pool of water. Yes, a well-like structure was built into the ceiling. The three begin to feel a presence in the room. A spirit starts touching their faces repeatedly. Using night vision, they spot a girl standing in the corner but only visible through the camera. Slowly, she starts coming closer. Suddenly, dozens of spirits appear on camera and possess Ah-Yeon and Jae-Yeon. Only Park Sang-hoon is left. But demonic Ah-Yeon grabs and kills him. Now, screams echo throughout the asylum. Paranormal activity is being recorded on all the cameras. It appears that the director of the asylum had killed her patients inside room 402, which is why that room is filled with so many demonic entities. That's also why all the spirits are focused on this very room. Something horrific happened in the past of this place. Ha-Jun finally arrives at the place. He starts walking towards room 402, whose door is still open, and he goes inside as well. But there was no one there. Inside the room, he doesn't find any water or anything, but soon, a demonic spirit flies in and sticks to his back. Ha-Jun struggles to breathe, and the spirit starts making strange noises. Slowly, it turns around, and when Ha-Jun flips his night vision camera to see, he realizes it's that horrifying, ruthless, demonic spirit. It grabs Ha-Jun and kills him, strangling him to death, whereas wounded Seung-wook, who finally regains consciousness. When he wakes up, he sees he's been tied to a chair by someone. Now an invisible force grabs him too. He screams as the spirit drags him away with it. After their deaths, the stream is left with just 500 views, and silence returns to the haunted island of Gonjiam. The holy water that Charlotte had placed there starts boiling, and with this terrifying ending, the movie concludes. This is Buff Recap Channel. Stay safe.